Hello, everyone. My name is Mamta Sagar. I am a poet writing only in Kannada. I write in Kannada, but I translate in and out into English and all kinds of languages involving Kannada. That's my introduction. Today I'm here to tell you a story which is a biography, the biography which is an autobiography, story of me from my childhood memories. So I call it as faith. Do you know what faith means? Faith is a belief. But this faith, Faith, is usually associated with God and religion. Actually, the meaning of faith moves beyond it. But those other different meanings are usually not introduced to us. Faith, we think, is a faith in God, a faith in one's religion, a faith in what you make, what you do, what you believe in. Okay, now let me come to the story. This happened around, well, 35 years ago, you know, when there was no cell phone, when there was only landline which you would dial, when we used to write letters to people, there was no internet. We used to write postcards, we used to write long letters in sheets of paper, go put it in an envelope, go to the post office, tell the postmaster that, wow, I'm sending a mail and post a mail to my friend. We used to have inland letters. Writing is so beautiful. Handwritten letters were sent. And we also had a chance to have friends who we never met, we never saw. They were called pen friends. So they became friends through pen. I had pen friends in Russia. I had pen friends in America. I had pen friends in Germany and England. You could become friends with people. As you grow up, as they grow up, you exchange thought with each other, tell stories to each other, write about whatever you are doing here in your country, in your little town, in your little house. Similarly, that friend of yours beyond oceans will write to you and tell his or her day to day life, special things, memories, fondness to you. That means there is so much to imagine. This possibility of having a space for imagination, you really don't know how beautiful it is. And I have gone through that. You know, faith, belief, imagination, and fact, all these are not independent. They're all related to one another. Sometimes somebody will tell you that, well, this is the case with this kind of a thing, and you believe it. But that need not be the case with that kind of a thing. Oh, I'm again drifting away from my story. I'll come back to the story now. This was when I was a little girl, growing up in a small little town called Sagara in Shimoga district. Sagara is located in a region called Malenadu. Malenadu has green forests, hills, birds chirping in the morning, tiny little wildlife roaming around freely in the forests, which was very dense and lots of rain. In rainy season, when it starts raining, the rain would rain and rain and rain for many, many days. Sometimes rained for days together, weeks together. And we had fun drenching in rain, dancing in rain. That was the rain dance, actual rain dance. You know, And when we were really little, when we were drenched and went to the school, they would take off the uniforms, keep us in the petticoats and dry the uniforms in the fire and put us back while coming home. So this beautiful place called Malenadu, beautiful place called Sagara, is part of my name, part of my memory, and part of my growing up. So in such a beautiful place, we little girls had so much of freedom. We had spaces to play outside the house. We never sat in front of the laptops. Anyway, laptops weren't there. We never meddled with the phones. Phones were never there. We always played Lagori, we played Gilli Dandu, we played Goli, we played Jut Jut, we played hide and seek. The entire children of the whole gully, the street, would come together in the evening and start playing. There are so many beautiful memories of this childhood, which was connected to so many other children, not just alone. We would never be alone. We never sat in the house. We never sat in front of a box. Our life was out there on the streets, in the forest, in the fields, enjoying, playing in the playgrounds, playing on the streets, eating in everybody's houses with no hesitation, no barriers of caste, no barriers of religion, no barriers of anything. Childhood was simply a beautiful childhood. Oh, sorry, I have to come back to my story. So, in this kind of a childhood, we were a group of little children in our street who would usually have fun, a lot of fun. We would steal mangoes from the trees from the neighborhood. Steal amtekai, steal pickles, dip it in the salt and chilies, eat it up. Wow. There is more things. So this gang of children, on the summer holidays or during Sundays, mornings we would get up very early. We wouldn't sleep for a long time because, we didn't think that there is time to sleep. We always wanted to play. We always wanted to be outside of the house. So this gang of children would go for an early morning walk. This early morning walk usually took us from our street. We would go straight, then take a left turn. Then there was a large playground. We used to cross the playground. You know what was there? Once you cross the playground, there used to be this temple called Ganapati Temple. Anyway, before crossing the playground, we used to play a lot in the playground. And there was yet another special thing about Sagara. In Sagara, this Ganapati temple shares its wall with a mosque right next to it. So we children, and the mosque was on the banks of a pond called Ganapati Kere. So the Ganapati Kere mosque and the temple were one next to the other. Therefore, we would first rush into the Ganapati temple, and before going into the temple, we would go into the mosque. So, as the air ahead of us smoked forth our warm breath through the fog, we children walked, gossiping and giggling. Early mornings used to be very cold. On Sunday mornings, we strolled through the small lane leading to the Ganapati temple. Next to the temple was the pond called Ganapati Kere. The pond had pink and white lilies surrounded by big round leaves cradling the droplets of water. Have you seen something like that? You should see this. This beautiful, huge, big, round leaves will have droplets of water like pearls on them, like precious stones, sparkling for the sun beams. We were told that precious stones like rubies and diamonds and even Ramatinki Varaha from the Shivappanayaka period could be found in the bottom of this little pond called Ganapati Kere. You know, the municipal office, the municipality was so kind. They restored the royal heritage by not cleaning the pond. You got me. Yes, the pond was all dirty, but it looked beautiful. So Ganapati Kere was the site of my imagination, the site where I dramatized the stories of Sarpaloka, the snake kingdom, Nagakanni case, the divine snake women, and the story of glass pillar that came floating into the palace pond with a beautiful princess hidden inside it. On one side of this pond is a bridge that connects the town of Sagara with the Agrahara locality. You know, this Agrahara locality in all old little towns belonged to a place where all, mostly the Brahmin people lived. You should also realize this, our society, our township, everything is designed on the basis of caste system, which actually is not good. You know, similarly, when the Brahmins thought they were all very precious and lived in an agrahara alone, there was another sect in the same town, which was beyond the town, you know, in the fringes of the town, where the lower caste people were made to stay. You know, both actually were on two opposite fringes of the town. But these people in Agrahara, the Brahmins thought, well, we are very big, we are very precious, we are the upper caste, we can do anything. And they thought they had kept the lower caste, in the other fringe of the society, who were always made to feel marginalized. This is not at all right. This is bad. You know, you should talk against this kind of discriminations that comes around caste and gender. Well, let us move on to the story. So, on one side of the pond was Agrahara locality. The bridge is blessed with Anjaneya Swami temple on one end. Apart from this, Ganapati Kere is surrounded by Raghavendra Swami Matha on the left side and a mosque, the mosque I was referring to, and the Ganapati temple on the right side. On the other side is the BH road where one can see the vehicles entering Sagara from Shimoga and Udupi. Even today, if you go there, you can see all these. As buses run into the town, passengers throw coins into the water of Ganapati Kere and seek the blessings of the god. Sagara used to be a small, rich town that gradually transformed into a still richer town. I grew up here like all other children. The whole week, I too waited for the coming of Sunday. On Sunday mornings, we children walked all the way up to the Ganapati Kere. There, adjacent to the Ganapati temple, stood this little beautiful mosque. Cool breeze filled the clean, white premises of the mosque. I still remember. As the sky turned into orange, we would fill our hands bowl with the golden water from the tiny little pond inside the mosque and dipped our face into it to feel the coolness. In this mosque, we sat on the steps that descended into the Ganapati Kere waters. As the mosque was on the banks of Ganapati Kere, and we watched the sun, the red sun, turn into orange, then yellow, and almost bright white pricking your eyes. In the meantime, birds flew over the pond, and a breeze so fresh and cool swept over us. Ah, this fragrance of freshness, the fresh green lilies, flowers, greenery from the pond would sweep us away. This is one of my precious memories of the childhood. From here, from the mosque, we headed towards the next door, Ganapati temple, where the prayer bells rang. The minute we heard the prayer bells, we would run to the temple. Here in Sagara, the Ganapati temple and the mosque share the same wall. The temple smelt of camphor, ghee, and incense sticks. We went round the prakara, played catch and run around the Garuda Gambha, ate prasada, and climbed the barricades to reach the big brass bell, which we rang, tung, 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 during the puja. And the sound resonated all around us. So many things come to my mind when I think of this little place. The childhood memories of hundreds and thousands of people like me must be still lingering in the dark corners of the sanctorum, or the Garbhagudi of this temple. Even today, I can hear tender hearts, tender heartbeats bribing the god during the exams, begging him for better results. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, tomorrow is my result. Let me get a rank, let me get something at least 80%. Well, let me pass. Tomorrow I'll come and give you a coconut. Bribing God can be heard even today in our society. Or using God to bribe is become a fashion in today's society. This is not good. This is not at all good. So as children, we boasted to our relatives that we belong to a place where a temple and a mosque share the same door. We belong to a place where the temple and a mosque share the same door. The truth was that the Hindus locked the door from inside the temple, while the Muslims locked it from inside the mosque. This did not actually bother us. This did not matter to us at all. Because, we children maybe unconsciously understood what it was. Whenever we played hide and seek, like we realized that the very fact that the wall has a door suggested that the intention of the door was to open, not to shut. As children, we had this idea of the door is there to open, not to shut. That is how we boasted about our place with a wall hosting a temple on the right and a mosque on the left. We never spoke about the locks that were put to the door. That didn't matter. Locks are there to open. You should only get the keys. Get the keys in your heart. Get the keys in your mind. Open the doors. That's what we believed. Okay. So, the very fact, as children, maybe we unconsciously, we understood this. Whenever we played hide and seek in the prakara of the temple, the seeker had to count numbers on this wooden door between mosque and the temple. So this door had cracks. This door had cracks and holes in it. As we counted numbers, we watched The waters of the mosque. This old door had cracks and holes in it. As we counted numbers, we watched the waters of the mosque spawn and people visiting the mosque. The numbers were counted, seeped through these cracks of the doors, knelt on the floor of the mosque, while the breeze from the mosque carried azan into the temple. Allahu Akbar Allah. Wow. The light moved in and out of the cracks and holes of this door from dawn to dusk. In the mosque's pond, clean waters of Ganapati Kere. Did I say clean? Unclean waters of Ganapati Kere became the symbol of purity. Soon, as I entered the high school, in one of the religious gatherings where I accompanied my parents, one of the head priests, before blessing me with flowers and the rice akshate, the colored raw rice granules, asked if I had attained puberty. I didn't realize what it meant. If I did, I had to stay away at a distance where the elderly women stood. We girls were asked not to go into the temples when we had periods. We were asked to stay away from each and everything that was considered sacred and holy. Even today, I wonder what that has to do with one's faith in God, one's belief in God. If a person is a believer, will her beliefs change during her periods? God was always associated with fear and punishment. Like, your beliefs never change if you get a cold, if you get a cough, if you get a fever. Does the belief change during your periods? It's nothing very special. It's part of the body. One need to understand this. But God was always associated with fear and punishment. Our bodies became a site of sin and filth. We all know how religion, God, and faith operate within a conventional structure and control and exploit women and their bodies. The caste hierarchies, the gender differences, the class, you're rich, somebody's poor, you have all the right to do whatever you want to that person or teach a lesson to that person by misbehaving with his daughter or wife or whosoever. Every other day, we hear how women are being raped, how their bodies are not being respected. It's important for us to know that this is a body which is given to you. And it is not a tool which can be used for some other cause. We all know how religion, God, and faith operate within a conventional structure and control our bodies. As I grew up, I thought maybe I never believed in God. As a child, I only feared Him because God is introduced to us as a man. If the God is a woman, she is a fierce woman like Kali or Durga, not a friendly person, not a dear one, with whom you can share. So, as a child, I only feared him, the God. We girls had stopped our Sunday morning walks and started going for walks in the evenings. Rarely did we go into the temple and the mosque as we grew up, but took long walks on the Ganapati Kere bridge. The Kere looked beautiful in the evening. Lights from the temple and the mosque, from the streets and the vehicles through reflection on water. Sagara did witness minor communal clashes during Moharram and Ganesha festival. Do you know what it is when I say communal clashes? Communal clashes happens because you think your religion is more precious than somebody else's. It's a kind of dividing people in the name of religion. It was during Ganesh Chaturthi immersions in September 2003 that major communal violence broke out, which took lives and damaged properties of number of pious Hindus and Muslims in Sagara. And this violence broke out right in front of the temple that shared its wall with the mosque. Since then, things have changed for Sagara. Some sort of coldness has spread consistently in the air, polluting hearts and minds of people. Faith, I always understood in the context of communal violence. Faith, if understood in the context of communal violence, surfaces as an important component of religion that has a lot to do with the belief in one's God and the non-belief in the God of the other. This also is to divide people who believe in whosoever the God is. It posits one religion against the other and one human being against the other, exerting tremendous control over people, which actually is not good. You cannot hurt people, you cannot divide people, you cannot punish people in the name of religion, nor otherwise. When it comes to women, it is their bodies that matter. Control over their bodies, control their existence. Sometimes faith is not very different, even when it stands outside the context of communal violence, since conventional milieus of religion can also represent violence in a different form. After all these years, I find myself caught between noises of prayers and azans from an increasingly number of colony temples and mosques that have come up like mushrooms all over, spreading hate and dividing people on the terms of religion and God, and the modern conservatism of religion controlling women, both old and young, as well as of all religions and of all genders, and people from the marginalized groups. When I look back, I realize that we have been too busy building common walls, but have failed to build common doors to these walls. Still, our minds are doors, our hearts are doors. They are the doors without walls. If there is a possibility of closing these doors, we should not forget that there is a possibility of opening them as well. Faith, for me, is hence a set of memories, metaphors, and images that nurture our life, change meanings, and make a difference to our lives, and bear a strong influence in shaping our being and becoming. Something that teaches you that there is no difference between people. There is no divide between people due to caste, gender, and religion. Everybody has a red blood flowing in our veins. As a witness to all that happens, Ganapati Kere, the pond in Sagara, which has seen every damn thing, seen children, seen people in the mosque, seen people in the temples, seen buses and cars carrying people into the town, still stands there, reflecting a temple and a mosque in its bosom. Pink and white water lilies still bloom in Ganapati Kere. Every morning at sunrise, the mosque spawn turns the water into yellow and gold. Every day, the birds fly. Cool breeze comes into the mosque, then into the temple, without any inhibition. Even today, little girls are asked not to go into the temple when they have periods. They still go for long walks on the pond's bridge. The common wall still has the door that connects the temple with the mosque. We need to open our minds and hearts to allow the breeze from the mosque to enter into the temple and chanting from the temple to enter into the mosque. And children should be able to move in both the spaces beyond doors, beyond frames, beyond all kinds of hierarchies and discriminations. We need to learn that we are people. We need to learn love, kindness, and affection. Ultimately, it is that which tells you life is beautiful. Yes, this life is beautiful, and let's celebrate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.